What is up guys, my name is Ben Hartwell, thanks for checking out my channel. If it's your first time here, please consider subscribing. So you guys seem to really like the video I did a couple of weeks ago on how to get a Sweet Child of Mine tone using the Line 6 Helix. So I thought this week I'd do another how to get the tone video, and this is an old tone that I made some time ago for U2's Where the Streets Have No Name. Now this is another super complicated tone. The Edge is an absolute genius when it comes to designing sounds. It's probably the undisputed king of those delay sounds and syncopated riffs that he does. Now this is another tone that I originally built live to use with my Sir Modern and my FR setup, but I've since tweaked it a little bit and I'm now using my Strat to get the tone a little bit closer. I still don't think this tone is as close as I got the Sweet Child of Mine tone, but it's getting there and it's a work in progress. But this is a tone that relies quite heavily on the actual gear that the Edge uses. And if you haven't already done so, you can check out the rig rundown and the Premier guitar did. I'll put links up here. And in that rig rundown, you can see that the Edge uses signature amps and signature guitars that give him that tone that he's now famous for. So I've tried to get a tone that's as convincing to the record as I can, using the gear that I have available and the Helix. Anyway, that's enough talking. Let's jump into it and I'll show you how I made the tone. Okay, so I've got my Strat, plug straight into the arrow and I've got Helix Native loaded up. So the first big secret to the Edge tone is the actual picks that he uses. And if you've watched the rig rundown, you'll see that he uses a custom pick that has lots of little raised dots all the way around it. And it's those dots that you can hear scraping against the string that actually gives him his unique pick attack. Now the closest thing I have to that is this. And this is a 1mm nylon with a slight bit of raised texture on it. And that'll give me a similar kind of scraping sound. So when the Edge plays live these days, he actually uses a series of different amps, including his signature amp. But back in the day, he was famous for using Vox AC30s. So that's what I'm going to base my tone around. And the actual model inside the Helix is the A30 Fawn Bright, which I think is based around the top boost channel of an AC30. Again, for this tone, I'm going to use some third-party IRs. And this time I'm going to use my favourite IR maker, which is 3 Sigma Audio. I don't actually have an IR for a Vox AC30, no good ones at least anyway. So after playing around with all the IRs that I do have, I settled on a hand-wired Marshall 1968 cab. And the way that the 3 Sigma Audio IRs work is they work on a number system, and the number relates to how close to the centre of the speaker the microphone is placed. 1 being closest to the centre, 5 being closest to the edge. And this is number 2A of their Marshall 1960 hand-wired. So that any tweaking, we've got this. That's not really the Edge kind of tone, so let's tweak the amp. So a little bit of tweaking, we've got this. And that feels a little bit quiet, so I'll turn up the IR. The next thing I'm going to add is a compressor right at the front of the chain. The compressor that I ended up using is the Deluxe Comp. I ended up bringing that threshold down, setting the ratio to 3:1, pretty fast attack time and the fastest release time that the compressor can do. And then just brought the level down a little bit because the compressors always run pretty hot in Helix. So with that added, we've got this. Kind of getting there for the tone. But next is the most important thing, and what really makes this sound is the delays. So one of the keys to getting the delays right is to make sure that they're running in stereo. You want that huge stereo wide effect of the delays panning left and right. So I've achieved that by using one of the stereo delays, and it's the dual delay. And to make sure that they're in time with the track, we need to set the global tempo within Helix Native. And I found a tempo of 128.4. Seemed to work pretty well. Now that we've got our tempo set, we can change our delays to be divisions of the tempo rather than setting milliseconds. So with the dual delay set, we've got this. So that's working pretty well. After the delays, I'm going to put my reverb. So the reverb I went with was the chamber delay, making sure that that too is running in stereo so that we keep that huge wide effect. And the only thing that I had to change on the reverb was just to up the mix a little. So with the reverb added in, that's sounding pretty good. Now if you listen to the record, after the Edge plays the very first note of the riff, it sounds like there's another delay in there, just with a very low feedback, just repeating that very first note. It could be the way that it's playing it, but I think it's another delay. So the way that I'm going to achieve that is to actually add a separate delay on a separate path. So what I've done is I've added a simple EQ and a delay on a separate path. I've used the EQ to cut everything other than those high frequencies and just boosted those high frequencies by just over a dB, because all I want is that single repeat from that top E string. The delay that I'm going to use is the tape delay, and I've set it to an eighth note with the feedback right the way down at 2%, crank that mix up, and I've given the headroom an extra 9.8 dB so that I'm not getting any distortion from the tape. So with that extra delay added, we've got this. So hopefully there you can hear that one extra repeat we're getting before the rest of the delays. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. So there's just one extra thing to add for this main tone, and that's to add a particle verb. It's set pretty low in the mix, but it just adds some really nice tails and bloom to the end of the note, similar to the shimmer effect that Edge uses in U2. Now, if you've seen the way that the Edge plays this live, you'll hear that sometimes he'll kick in some kind of tube screamer or overdrive effect. So I'm just going to add a Timmy pedal just in front of the amp with quite a low setting on it, just to boost it that little bit. So with the Timmy pedal engaged, turn it off. So it's not adding a whole lot, just to bring the signal up a bit during that verse section. And that's it. That's how I made my Where the Streets Have No Name tone. So there you go, how to get the Edges Where the Streets Have No Name tone done. Quite a complicated tone, this one, and I don't think my Strat is quite the right guitar to be getting this tone, but it's pretty close. But if you take it step by step, use your Vox amp, get it just on the edge of breakup, use some good quality stereo delays, a nice dense reverb, stick in that extra delay, and it's pretty much there. Could probably get this tone even closer to the record by finding the specs of the Edge's signature amp and maybe using some high quality Vox AC30 IRs, maybe run two of them in parallel and see how close that gets to the tone. One thing I did forget to mention in the video when making the tone is the actual way that the Edge picks each of the notes. When he's picking with his custom picks, he's not picking with the sharpened edge of the pick. He's turning the pick and using the rounded edge of the pick that has the raised texture on it. And that's what gives you the scraping sound. It's quite a strange technique the first few times that you try it, as it doesn't feel like you're holding a whole lot of pick, and the way that the pick brushes across the strings feels quite strange. But if you try it with a textured pick, you'll feel that it starts to grab and scrape at the strings, and that gives you his signature pick attack sound. A lot of you guys have been asking if I'll make these tones available. So they are available. You just have to go to benhartwellguitar.co.uk, and all the tones that I make for all the videos are going to be up there and available for download. If you download one of these tones, you'll get 2 versions, one that you see me make in the video that uses the IRs from 3 Sigma Audio, and one built with stock Helix cabs. The stock one is going to get you kind of in the ballpark of the tone, but it's nowhere near as close as the IR one. So feel free to head over to the website, download them, play around with them, see how you like them. I'll be adding more and more tones as I make more and more videos. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up below. If you want to watch another video on my channel, you can click right up here. And don't forget to subscribe, you can do it just there. See you in the next one.